Sean King, who was trending yesterday under the phrase Talcum X on Twitter. I would never use that phrase, but that's just what he was trending as on Twitter, because there are allegations that he is totally white, because on his birth certificate, both of his parents are white. Though then he has countered and said, actually, his father's not the guy on the birth certificate, and he's biracial and whatever. That's I don't care to get into that soap opera in particular. What I want to get into is the real drama that he's foisted on the country, which is he is now calling on all of his thugs and goons to go smash churches. So look how we've got, it's no longer tear down statues of Confederates because they're traitors to America. Then it became tear down statues of the Founding Fathers because they're racist and bad and America's terrible. But still, we're talking about public property, government property. Now we've gone to go to private churches and smash their windows and tear down their statues. Sean King writes, quote, "Yes, I think the statues of the white European they claim is Jesus should also come down. They are a form of white supremacy, always have been. In the Bible, when the family of Jesus wanted to hide and blend in, guess where they went? Egypt, not Denmark. Tear them down. Tear them down. Not, I call on churches to remove them. Then they would say the churches should remove them. He said, tear them down. You tear them down. Yes, all murals and stained glass windows of white Jesus and his European mother and their white friends should also come down. They're a gross form of white supremacy created as tools of oppression. Racist propaganda, they should all come down." I don't know where this idea comes from that Jesus is presented most often as some Nordic kind of god, some Scandinavian or something, but it just isn't true. Jesus is not presented as Thor. At a few churches, and maybe in Iceland he is, but everywhere else he is not. He's presented as a Jewish guy, which is what he is. Then there's this other idea on another side that Jesus was actually black, or Jesus was actually Arabic or something. Also, not true, and that's why he's not presented that way. Jesus is, I don't know if you read the book, but here's a spoiler alert, Jesus is a Jew. And when you look at depictions of Jesus, most of the time, he looks like that. If you look at, say, the Shroud of Turin, which is a relic that is said to show the likeness of Christ, artistic depictions of Christ tend to look a good deal like that. But he wants to set it on fire. He wants to tear down the statues. He wants to smash the windows, Sean King, because he doesn't like white people, I guess. He says anything that, if it looks white, tear it down, even if we're talking about the Son of God and his mother, the Mother of God. This is only going to get more extreme. I don't know what conservatives are waiting for. We think that they're all just joking. We think they're all just kidding. They're not. They're telling us what they want to do, and then they're doing it. They're telling us they want to tear down statues of Robert E. Lee, then they tear down statues of Robert E. Lee. They're telling us they want to tear down statues of George Washington, then they are actually tearing down statues of George Washington. They're going to do it to the churches. They're already doing it. There's actually an image coming out of the Netherlands, of all places, that has graffiti tag and paint all over an image, a mosaic of the Virgin Mary, and it says BLM on it. This is going to go on. Is it about race or is it about ideology? Is it about the N word or is it about the M word? I think it's the latter. I think it's coming into Marxism. When these people tell us what they think, we should believe them. We talked yesterday about how one of the founders of Black Lives Matter came out and said, we are trained Marxists. We talked a few weeks ago, I called this, when I said, look at the language on the Black Lives Matter website. This is boilerplate Marxism. Well, now we have another example of this, which is the hashtag cancel rent movement. And you're seeing a lot of AstroTurf Twitter accounts popping up and a lot of bots on the internet popping up saying that we need to cancel rent. What does cancel rent mean? It sounds really nice to all of us, right? Because none of us wants to pay our rent. We like to have the apartment, but we don't like to pay our rent. What does cancel rent mean? It means cancel private property. Because if you don't pay your rent, then the landlord can't pay his mortgage. If he can't pay his mortgage, he loses the property. And you hear explicit calls for this from many prominent left-wingers, including now, and especially perhaps, the leaders of Black Lives Matter. This is what they always do. They give you a slogan that you think that you can agree with and buy into, but that slogan is a gateway to premises that would completely destroy your civilization. So Black Lives Matter, as I've said, nobody disagrees with the phrase Black Lives Matter. That's why everyone posted the square. But Black Lives Matter doesn't mean Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter means Marxism, as the founders of Black Lives Matter actually told us over the past few days. Cancel rent sounds great, right? But it doesn't just mean cancel rent. It means cancel private property, cancel your political rights, cancel your economic rights, destroy your country. What is the result of this? We're actually seeing this experiment play out in real time over in Chaz Chop, named by viewers of this show Somalia, the Soviet Union, and Venezuela, among other things. Well, in 48 hours in Chaz Chop, 2 people were shot. A 19-year-old was fatally shot in the protest area, according to the mainstream media, also known as the anarchist occupied zone. And then another person was shot and hospitalized in very serious condition. This is going on all over the place. Forget just Chaz Chop, Somalia, as the most extreme example. Just go to New York, run by Mayor Bill de Blasio, a commie himself. Well, what's going on in de Blasio's New York? Crime is up through the roof. There was a video that circulated yesterday of a bunch of thugs throwing a firecracker at a homeless guy and watching it explode on top of him. Here it is. He's running away. It's a big explosion on a homeless guy. That is, it doesn't look, I know that the mainstream media have tried to accuse white supremacists and the phantom of the Ku Klux Klan for committing these crimes. Doesn't look that way to me. This is what's happening in Bill de Blasio's America. This is what's happening in Chaz Chop America. This is what the left wants to do. Are we going to believe them when they tell us this is going to happen? You can't blame them for dishonesty. They're telling us what will happen, and then they are doing it. What is the goal of all of this? Is the goal of all of this to have racial reconciliation? No. They're using race as a means of effecting their ideological ends.